going on, guys? Welcome to episode 34. I'm being a YouTuber. Because they always have snappy introductions.
Yeah.
Yep, that was me being a YouTuber. What do
you want to be a podcaster instead?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 34 of Smooth Traffic. Today we are going to talk about the Smooth Traffic Scrapyard Challenge, not to be confused with Scrap Heap Challenge, which is a defunct Channel 4 show. The Mustang V8, which I've been driving, alongside the Abarth 595 Competizione. And we're going to talk about some underground tunnels that Ben has got into a twist about. It's just not even going to... they're not going to work. We've got the second part of our movie hero fight tournament. And somebody sent us a letter! Oh my god! Ew! Kingy and Benny, I want to ask you something.
Go on.
Have you ever heard the analogy that size matters?
No.
You've never heard that before?
No, never.
Basically, what it is, right? Women say size matters, don't they?
So because I'm fat, therefore that's important.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because you've got what's called girth, King.
Right.
That is important, basically. And
should I still be single then?
Yes, because it allows you to use your girth to better effect. But anyway, in the last couple of weeks, I've had two cars of differing sizes on test. I've had the Ford Mustang V8 GT Fastback, and I've had the Abarth 595 Competizione. One is massive and is a Ford Mustang and has a huge engine. The other is very, very small and kind of chirpy.
So like me and Ben?
Yeah. You're massive. Ben is small and chirpy. But the Abarth has an infinite number of times the character that Ben does.
Right.
So if you imagine a small car that has no badges on it, is painted white, and has generic steel wheels with random cheap tyres on,
yeah,
that's Ben in car form. You're obviously large, fairly loud,
am I?
and thirsty.
Hungry.
In a number of ways. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is, I did, when I had the cars, the first thing I did when I got in them is reset the trip computer, so I know how far I've driven, how long I've driven for, and my average speed. My average speed was 5 miles per hour higher in the Abarth on similar routes than it was in the Mustang. Which tells me something, and I got thinking about this. I think, as well as weight and power, we have another aspect that determines how fast we can go, and that's size. Because if you're really big, you can't go that fast. Isn't that right, King?
I mean, I've been known to occasionally waddle at quite a pace.
Okay.
Roll down a hill, for example.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that, yeah, I mean, I live in Devon, so there's a lot of narrow country roads and stuff, and although the Mustang would absolutely slay an A-road or a motorway, whereby it would quite happily sit at
speed,
the Abarth will also quite happily sit at speed, but not in the same way that the Mustang will, because as soon as the Mustang gets off those straight roads and high speed limit roads, it really struggles on... a country road, for example, in the rain, it was sort of skipping from side to side over bumps, which in a normal sized car is fine. And I'm not saying the Mustang is absolutely massive, it's not like a Rolls Royce or anything, but you basically, when another car comes down a narrow country road, you have to stick your wing mirror in the bush and hope that your other wing mirror stays on the car. Because there is that little room out in Devon anyway. Whereas with the Abarth, you can literally nip through anywhere at any speed you like, because it's too small to hit anything. It's like radiation. You know, radiation goes through things because it's so minute.
Yeah.
That's the Abarth. It can literally go through things because it's so tiny, nothing can stop it. Not even lead.
How did the handling compare with those two cars then? Because obviously the Mustang, being an American car, probably doesn't handle very well. Is that fair to say?
It handles better than what you'd expect it to. It just has strengths and weaknesses, and it's very, very good at its strengths and very, very poor at its weaknesses, I think. Well, poor's probably a bit harsh. It's not unmanageable. It's just you need to play to its strengths to get the most out of it. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
On a country road in the rain, you're one of the slower cars on the road, definitely. You're not really going anywhere. The wheels spin in third gear if you're not careful. The tail steps out. As it would, because it's a muscle car, but on long, straight, flowing roads with some curves in, because around certain corners it works quite well. It relies a lot on the surface, when the surface gets uncomfortable and bumpy, it suffers more than what it would do. I loved it. I really, really did love it. But I spent 21 hours in the Mustang over the course of the week. I did over 540 miles, I think it was, in the end. And I got 19 miles per gallon out of it, which, to be fair, is not far off the quoted combined, which is 20.9, I think.
Okay, so at least it's accurate.
So yeah, it's fairly accurate. But God, you're at a petrol station near enough every couple of days in that thing if you're driving a long way. A full tank is 61 litres, I think. I remember looking it up, and that would get me 300 miles. At one point, I put 10 quid of fuel in it because I'm skint, and it got me about 20 extra miles of range.
God.
Which is pretty scary.
That's not good.
Yeah, but the Abarth, cracking little car, great fun. Such a big character as well. It sort of whips around corners really nicely, grips really well. It's a really, really lively engine. The exhaust, the Record Monza exhaust on the back of that makes a terrific noise. And yeah, you can drive that car a lot faster than you actually can a Mustang, which is interesting. And there's one similarity between the Mustang and the Abarth, is that it sits very comfortably at high speeds, which is not what I was expecting at all. The Mustang will go obviously a lot faster than the Abarth, but at a certain speed on the road, on a motorway or something, it sits at that speed and it's comfortable. It just carries on. I was really, really impressed with it. I love them both. I really, really love both cars, but for completely different reasons. The Mustang is an event every time you get in it, whether you're going 1 mile an hour or
speed.
It is an event. It's special. People want to take pictures with it. They want to ask you about it. They want to know how much fuel economy figures you're not doing. And the Abarth is the complete opposite. Nobody really pays much attention to it because they just think it's a Fiat 500, and people sit on your arse and stuff. But then you put your foot down and you disappear because that thing goes around corners incredibly quickly. And it's probably my favourite hot hatch now, I'd say. And it doesn't get the good reviews that perhaps things like the Fiesta ST does, but for me it's more of a exciting car to drive because it squirms a little bit more on the front end. It's hard to really think of a reason why you would buy it over some other hot hatches, because it is a bit more expensive and it isn't as quality, should we say, as some others, but it makes you feel good. And I think that's what Italian cars do well in general. They just make you feel good. They make you feel special, even though they're not the best cars on the road. I think that's what they do, and that's what the Abarth 595 Competizione has done for me. So
I'm glad that you get it now, John.
Yeah, I think I do get it now. It's definitely on my list of potential next cars, and I'm glad I got to test one for a week because it was a lot more helpful than dealerships I've been to.
Well, on that subject, most importantly, as you were advised previously, did you end up spinning out on every roundabout that you took?
No.
No.
I haven't actually spun on a Abarth yet. I haven't lost control of an Abarth, and believe me, I've driven it like a twat.
Around more than, say, one roundabout?
I think I've driven around 30 or 40 roundabouts.
And not once did it spin?
I haven't spun and crashed it yet, no.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
that dealership in Swindon...
So that guy must have just had really bad luck.
He must have had terrible luck, because there is no sign of an Abarth ever looking like it wants to spin on a roundabout and kill you. It just doesn't. The front wheels are a bit squirmy and a bit slippery sometimes. You have to know what you're doing a bit, but it's a front wheel drive super mini city car thing. It's not going to rip your head off. It doesn't. It is just a bit squirmy and a bit wriggly sometimes, and it gets a bit more like that on a wet road. But it's not dangerous like the salesman was trying to make it out to be.
So what have Abarth done to the 500 then to make it that little bit that sportier? Like presumably they replace the suspension and stuff as well, do they, to try and help the handling?
Stuff like that. Basically, you get a 500 off the production line without wheels, seats, brakes, engine, suspension. Is
it a new engine as well?
It is,
or just refined.
It's an Abarth tuned Fiat engine. So as far as I know, that's prepared at the Abarth factory. I think it's certainly got Abarth logos all over the engine and stuff. But it's tuned. So there's various stages of tune with the 1.4. So there's 140, 160, or 165, I think it might be, and 180. In a 695, it goes up to about 200, I think. But that's a different car altogether. And yeah, it's varying degrees of turbo. I think there is quite a big turbo boost in that car, and it's quite exciting actually. Quite good fun. There's a big turbo gauge on top of the dashboard, which you can see. And Abarth do their own wheels, their own exhaust systems. That's kind of what made Abarth famous back in the 50s. Was their exhaust systems for the original or the second 500, I suppose I should say, because the Topolino was the first 500. Yeah, brakes, suspension, exhaust, engine, and obviously there's lots of interior touches in there as well. So you've got like in the Competizione, I've got like a carbon fibre trimmed Alcantara kind of steering wheel with like leather touches and stuff, aluminium gear knob, lovely aluminium pedals, Alcantara sort of what would you call that on the top there?
Over the top of the dash.
Over the top of the dash,
just where the instrument cluster.
Yeah, cluster cover, sort of that sort of thing. Yeah, and there's sort of other little touches and stuff on the car. Obviously, I think it's got a bit of a body kit on it as well.
So it's certainly not a Fiat 500 with a couple of stickers and a bit quicker.
It's
It's a completely new car.
The 500 is a really good fun car to drive, but the Abarth 595 is a proper little performance car. And because a lot of people look at it and go, why are you raving about a Fiat 500? Like a few women in my life have come up to me and go, why are you raving about a Fiat 500? It's not a Fiat 500, not by any stretch of the imagination. There's obviously there's leftover Fiat 500 parts that are in there somewhere, but it is a proper little sports car actually, and it's an absolute riot. It's got 180 horsepower and it weighs just over a ton, like 1,070 kilos, I think the weight is, and that's Lotus levels of performance really, in terms of power to weight ratio and stuff. So yeah, it's a really 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 serious car, and it will leave you for dead on a country road. And I'll tell you what, it would absolutely destroy a Mustang on any sort of twisty road, definitely.
So big question then, so rather than spending money on it, if someone was offering you a car now for 6 months just to test, one of the manufacturers said, Johnny, you can have a long termer, would you pick the Mustang or the Abarth?
Who's paying for the fuel?
It's included.
My first question.
It's all included. Yeah.
It's a tricky one because I like any car that I drive where people stop and ask questions about it and want to engage with us about what the car's about and what is it like and stuff. I find really nice because I really like sharing special cars with people. But I've had much more fun actually driving the Abarth than I did the Mustang, on the basis that I can really grab the Abarth by the scruff of the neck. Whereas in the Mustang, I probably could grab the Mustang by the scruff of the neck, but I'm just too scared to do it. And I don't necessarily think I've got the talent to drive a Mustang quickly on a twisty road, basically. So because of where I live and stuff, I'd probably say the Abarth.
And that'd probably be... So if my second question was going to be, and what if you had to pay for the fuel yourself? But I imagine that it's the same answer then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
there you go.
Yeah, the Mustang was a complete nightmare on fuel, as it would be. But I don't think anybody would buy a 5-litre Mustang as their only car. I think that's probably a second car. And it's a very, very nice toy to have. £40,000 for a huge V8 engine and a body like that. And fantastic brakes in the Mustang as well. That often goes unsaid, but the brakes in the Mustang are brilliant. Like, you can stop incredibly quickly in that thing. I mean, I love the Mustang. It's a really, really great car, but until I'm wealthy enough to run one, I couldn't possibly imagine actually owning one.
And the Abarth is great value, so actually, you want a fun car to drive around and
have some fun. Great value. And the things with the Abarth as well is you don't have to buy a Competizione, which is the sort of top spec, apart from the special edition sort of 695s that you get. You can buy a base Abarth 595 or a Trofeo or even a Turismo. You can have a like hatchback or like fabric topped one, and there's different things you can add onto it, and there's lots of aftermarket people who do like little bits and bobs for it as well. So if you want something that's kind of your own, and there's we learned that at Abarth Day at Rockingham, everybody's sort of done different things with their little Abarth cars, and there's not one that's really the same as another. So there's lots out there for people who want to make it their own, change things, even modifying that kind of thing. You can even get more power out of the engine if you know the right people and go about it the right way. So it's a great little package, and yeah, you get one for under 20 grand, which is a pretty good price really, because I think the new Fiesta ST is going to cost more than that, and the Polo GTI costs more than that, as far as I know. So yeah, it's well worth considering. If you just enjoy driving and you can put up with certain flaws that the car has, the seating position's a bit funny, the interior quality is Italian. If you can put up with that, then I think you'd be really, really happy with it, because the driving experience is properly rewarding. Yeah.
So, exciting news, chaps. Following the letter that we had a couple of episodes ago, we've had another letter in.
Another one?
Another one.
How is that possible?
Well, Who really knows? But this one comes from P. Edwards of Lincolnshire.
Name sounds familiar.
And they ask, quite simply, what is the best sauce?
It's obvious, isn't it?
Well,
have they given us any context as to what they might want to put the sauce on?
no context as to what they want to put it on. They have scribbled brackets condiments, but so obviously any kind of crude innuendo-based puns are all out now. Okay. Just so we're clear, chaps.
Ah.
Yeah, sorry, Ben. I know you're a filthy pervert.
So it's a little less obvious than I was thinking, but it's still fairly obvious, I would say.
Well, do enlighten us then, John.
Brown sauce.
Agreed.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't beat brown sauce. Brown sauce, it's tangy, it's fruity, it goes well with beans, it goes well with sausages, it goes well with bacon, it goes well with all the important things in life.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing for a change.
Brown sauce is honestly incredibly underrated as a sauce. It makes ketchup look incredibly plain.
Bland.
I
bet Ben picks ketchup.
Yeah, but Ben is like not branded ketchup. Ben is like Aldi ketchup. Watered down.
I quite like Branston's ketchup, actually. Branston's make good ketchup. But
did Branston make ketchup?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
As long as you go HP with your brown sauce.
Or Daddy's.
Yeah.
Daddy's. Interesting.
HP or Daddy's, yeah. But that, honestly, once you've had brown sauce, it makes ketchup look incredibly unimaginative. And actually, the people who invented ketchup need to have a look at themselves because they haven't done a very good job of inventing the sauce, really. Because although ketchup
Whose car was it that we wrote?
Whose car did we cover in sauce?
We wrote some swears on someone's car, didn't we, in ketchup? Who was that? Was that yours, Kingy?
No.
Was it not? No,
I once had ketchup squirted onto the back windscreen by Matt Jarvis. So, hi Matt, if you're listening. Thanks for that. But no, I don't know who you wrote on their car in ketchup on.
I used to do it quite a lot to friends of mine and people who I just knew who weren't really friends of mine.
Perkis.
Well, yeah, Perkis was a victim of it, but also me and Perkis used to go out as a duo and ketchup people's cars. So like there was like this is when we were in like the sixth form. So like, when we were just like mucking around in our first cars and stuff. There was a girl in the sixth form called Ruby, and she'd just had a new car or something. So me and Perkis went out with some ketchup one night because ketchup again is such a bland sauce. It's only good for graffiti. So we went out one night and we did basically a drive-by ketchuping of her car. Apparently the next morning her father was absolutely livid that her car had been covered in ketchup and wanted to find who'd ever done it and kill them, basically. But it never got found out who it is.
Until now.
Now I've revealed all. And now...
You're a criminal.
Now, I'm untouchable. I've got away with it. No one can do anything to me now. Ha! That's great, isn't it? It's like I've got away with murder, but more saucy.
I don't know how much we can use of this, to be honest.
Yeah, we can use loads of it.
You've basically admitted to a crime.
Putting ketchup on someone's car is not a crime.
Well...
It's an inconvenience.
It's a criminal act.
No, it's not.
Defacing someone's property.
No, it's not.
I think it would be.
Because it's not permanent.
It doesn't have to be permanent.
I'm not sure that's the definition.
You break someone's leg, Ben, that's assault, but it's not a permanent break. It heals.
Ben, you've got a law degree. If I've covered someone's car in ketchup, I'm not going to go to prison, am I?
That wasn't the question, was it? Was it a criminal act? Not whether you'd go to prison.
Well, I'm only bothered if I'm going to prison or not. I'm not going to prison, am I?
Yeah. You can't afford to pay a fine,
Remember that,
John.
Kingy, when he's doing 1,000 hours of community service.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one can prove it was me.
You just admitted to it.
No, I didn't. I didn't say it was me that covered the car in ketchup.
You did.
I said I was involved in it.
You're an accessory.
You're an accessory. You're an
I'm
accessory to a ketchuping.
But you know what? They can't touch me. I'm invincible. They're never going to get me.
Right, anyway, Ben, what's your offering for the best sauce? Because I'm sure that...
Is it brown sauce, Ben?
Irritatingly, I agree.
Oh, yeah! Smooth traffic sauce decision. Right, P. Edwards of Lincolnshire. Ben, have you got anything to add to that? I don't think you have you?
No.
No, you never did.
Have you ever sourced anyone's car?
Yeah, I thought I sourced yours, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I missed.
So whose car did you source then, Ben?
Whoever was parked in my drive at the time, I guess.
Am I the only person who hasn't put sauce on someone's car? What is wrong with you people? You're animals.
Are you sure it wasn't your car, Kingy?
No.
Maybe you just ate it off. Maybe you licked the windscreen clean afterwards.
You might have
No, the windscreen was always filthy, so I wouldn't have licked it.
You know, I reckon next SMMT day we should cover all the journalists, the snobby stuck-up journalist cars in sauce. All the grumpy ones.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing like
grumpy
announcing
ones.
it first, though, Johnny.
Just leave people alone.
We'll cover it in sauce, and then we'll drive off really, really quickly.
Oh, and no one will know who it is because you haven't told everyone.
No, I mean, they'll all know it's us, but they're not going to touch us, are they? We're getting away with it. Ha! We're
I don't
untouchable.
think-
We're untouchable. You can't touch us.
You don't understand how the law works.
You've been sourced.
So anyway, thanks P. Edwards for writing in, and obviously I'm sure you agree that brown sauce is the king of sauces,
It's a great sauce, honestly. You can use it with anything.
and hopefully we'll get another letter in sometime.
It makes me think we should get something else, though. Something more efficient and more direct, where people don't have to, like, pay for stamps and stuff. That's a first-class stamp on that.
True.
That's like £4 in this day and age.
It's not £4.
It is £4. Google it.
I think we've exhausted this segment now, guys. So,
Oh, fuck off, Ben.
So, chaps, I have a challenge for you.
Yay.
In discussion the other day with Johnny, I can't think why we were talking about scrapyards, but we were. I've never been to a scrapyard.
That's where John belongs.
Probably talking about your fashion sense, Ben.
Anyway,
Or your face.
what we thought would be good fun, as we didn't have a summer road trip, is that we'd have a late summer challenge. So,
Oh, we're going to drive somewhere.
yes, you two are going to drive to a scrapyard and purchase 2 items, one each, and then you're going to hand them to me, and I'm going to make something hopefully decent out of them. So you need to go there, find something interesting from obviously part of a car, and then bring it to me, and I'll make something daft out of it, like a coffee table or something. I don't know.
A coffee table?
Something that you're going to have back in your house. So that's why it's got to be a good bit of kit.
Something that we can put on eBay. Got it.
So it's got to be something that goes back to our house.
Yep.
So after you've built it, we have to keep it.
Yeah. So the point is that you can't buy me a sort of 20-foot length of exhaust from a lorry, because that's no use to anyone.
Well, it might be.
Unless, of course, you want that in your house. You know, new curtain rail or something like that.
Yeah, but look, Ben, we're not the creative people in this challenge.
Yeah, Ben, I can't
You know.
create anything.
So if I pick up a giant lorry exhaust, it's not for me to figure out what you're going to do with it. That's for you to figure out.
I'm going to make a bloody organ out of it if you do.
Can't you
It's
slice it
church
up into lots of circles and then lay them out on the floor and
I think you're overthinking this, John.
wrap around the outside?
I can see the steam coming out your ears.
Yeah, I'm getting a headache. I can't do it. I can't have a lie down.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So
I had another question as well, Ben. Are we
Yeah.
buying it for each other? Like, am I buying a part for Kingy's room or house? Is Kingy buying a part for my room and house?
That wasn't the original plan, but I like it. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, okay. So it's got to be something that fits in each other's
shit me.
each other's place that you're going to build from. Cool. Okay. I like that idea. I can do that.
Excellent. And it's got to be a sensible size and everything else, because,
I was just
it's a bit
thinking,
difficult to get to me otherwise.
this is easy, Mate, I'm lacking a bit of seating space. I'll just get the back seats out of an old Fiesta or something, and Ben can make me some new seats to sit on.
Oh yeah, like a gaming chair or something. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
See?
That would be good. I don't think I can afford that, King. Well, it's a scrapyard, isn't it? How much money do I need? 50 quid?
£50?
Yeah.
I'm not taking 50 quid to a scrapyard.
No?
No.
But it's car bits, isn't it? Aren't they expensive still?
Well, I don't know, but I'm not spending 50 quid on something that Ben's going to mutilate
And then give to you.
and then give to you.
Perfect.
Right, well, yeah. To the scrapyard,
Alright.
I guess.
Where's the nearest scrapyard?
I don't know.
No idea. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll document it once you've bought the bits, and obviously during the making of it, I might even ask Twitter for guidance on how terrible to make these things for you, and we'll go from there. Be good fun.
Ben, you do realise if you screw us, we'll be at a scrapyard. We can easily screw you. We could basically knock his house down, couldn't we?
What?
It's a bit harsh.
Well, like we could can't we just borrow one of those big squishy machines?
What do you think happens at a scrapyard?
Well, they get the squishy machine out and they squish stuff and then they sell it at cheaper prices.
And you think you can just pick up Ben's house and put it in a quote,
No,
squishy machine?
we can say oh, we've got something, but we need to borrow the squishy thing. Can we just take it out for a bit and bring it back? So we squish it because it's too big to move, and then we squish it and then we take it there to get 10
I
quid.
don't think you're going to be buying squished parts, to be fair. I think whole parts would be easy to work with.
Well, I don't know. Depends. Can I buy an entire cube of metal? How much is a cube of metal?
I don't know! Why are you asking me?
I don't know. You know lots of things. You've got good general knowledge. I don't know how much a cube.
If any of our listeners have any idea how much anything costs at a scrapyard,
especially
tweet us at Smooth Traffic.
Cube of metal. That's the most important. I'd really like to buy a cube of metal.
There'll be like a metre square, like ton cube of metal. If that turns up on my drive, I'm not going to be happy.
Well, I'm not going to be happy if you build us a shit present. So it evens out, doesn't it?
Excellent. So I thought it's worth having a quick chat about Elon Musk and his boring company.
Ben's going to get his lube out in a minute.
No, I told you, John, this is going to be boring.
So he tweeted a couple of weeks ago that he'd received verbal government approval to build a hyperloop between New York and DC.
It went down very well.
Yeah, most people moaned and said, "What do you mean by verbal approval?" He doesn't really clarify, and so it seems a bit odd. But anyway, it's interesting that he's persevering with this. So the idea is, Johnny, because you probably haven't quite grasped it or care, in fact, he's going to build a small tunnel, and you'll have little elevators at various points along the route that you'll drive onto, and it'll take your car down into the hyperloop, into the tunnels basically, and then go at very high speed through these tunnels to reach your destination quicker. So taking cars off the roads and chucking it underground. So that is the plan. But I suppose I don't really see what the purpose of this tunnel network is going to be, because when we go into fully automated vehicles, I just don't see that congestion is going to be a massive issue after that, especially when he's talking about having autonomous vehicles as essentially like fleet cars rather than actually owning a car yourself. You'll just call a car that's available. So it seems a bit of a pointless endeavour, really. Don't know if you read much about it, Kingy. Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, the general principle I think is genius, because obviously, what would take you, say, 3 hours to drive, you're basically boarding the equivalent of the Channel Tunnel and doing the trip in an hour or whatever, and then you still have the convenience of getting off at the other end and having your car with you, so you don't have to worry about the fact that you've then got to hire a car or anything like that. You've got your own vehicle with you. You can go about whatever your business is.
But it's not the real future.
But if you've got to sell some Corby trouser presses or something, you need to chuck them in your own car and take them with you. You can't just hop on a train with them.
So old.
So, I don't know what people do. This is America. They probably still sell vacuum cleaners door to door.
In the future, in all the pictures of the future that they've got,
everything's flying.
Everything's a monorail or flying, yeah.
Or in tubes.
Yeah,
I haven't seen those pictures.
Futurama.
Yeah, but
everyone travels by tube.
That's not a picture of the future.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
I'm talking about proper pictures of the future from like the 1970s, where people were designing like spiky flying cars.
Oh, I see. So you mean pictures of today?
Yeah.
When nothing actually turned out like that?
Yeah.
Because it was bullshit?
Yes.
So just like Futurama now?
Okay.
So there's no difference. Thank you.
I see it. But yeah,
except Futurama has jokes. So,
Why do we want to go underground? It's dark, it's wet, and there's not much stuff under there except worms, when we could be in the sky on a monorail.
You don't like flying?
No, I don't like flying, but on a monorail I'd feel safe.
The point of not going above ground is that you need to be disruptive above ground, so you'd have to knock down buildings and people's houses to travel through the towns, so it's not really practical.
Yeah, but you might hit like a lava flow or something underground.
How deep do you think they're going to put these tunnels?
I don't know how deep a hole has to go to make a flying car go underground or something.
It's not a flying car.
I don't understand.
It's a very simple concept, all right?
How does the car speed up underground?
A track.
Well, no, because the car doesn't move. When you pull up to the elevator at road level, right, you're then locked into that. It's basically like I'm just trying to think how to describe it. If you think of it as like a dinner tray. So basically you drive onto a dinner tray.
Alright.
It's then lowered onto the Hyperloop network.
Yeah.
Right, and the tray then locks in with wheels. In the same... We'll describe it as being like a monorail, but underground.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Alright, so you're riding in your car
monorail.
on the monorail underground. So then you're dropped down, you go into the loop, you're fed into the system, and then it just speeds up like that.
Are they going to build anything else underground so you can stop and have a drink and stuff?
No, because it'll be so quick you won't need to.
Yeah, but it's not going to be that quick, is it?
Yeah.
But what if you...
Isn't it like... I can't think of what the speed is. It's something absurd, isn't it? Like 600 mile an hour or something like that?
How fast?
Quick.
100 mile an hour?
At speed.
Yeah, so they reckon sort of 600 to 700 miles per hour.
Oh, fuck off. 700 mile an hour underground? That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. That's ridiculous. It won't work.
Going back to your point, though, Ben, about whether it works with autonomous vehicles. But I think John raises an interesting point here in that...
No, he doesn't. Surely not.
No, he does. Because if he's saying, is there anywhere to stop on the way if you need a drink or anything?
Yeah.
But if you're in an autonomous vehicle, like we discussed a while ago, where you could have a bar or whatever in your vehicle, then it's... Surely that makes more sense, because then, A, you don't have to worry about driving at the other end, and B, you can actually enjoy that hour, just relax. Not that you wouldn't be relaxed in your own car, but relaxed, enjoying some music.
What about G-forces?
Yeah.
What about G-forces?
If you're going 700 miles an hour at ground level, aren't you going to get really ill?
What? No, it'll all be sorted out, don't worry. So,
you don't know the answer to that question.
We won't go into detail, Johnny, because if we do, you won't understand it anyway.
John, this isn't for us to worry about.
Why?
This is for Elon and his team of genius scientists to worry about.
I'd like them to be able to make stuff happen underground, so it was interesting. I don't want to be in the dark for like a long time, going really fast and feeling sick.
So you agree that you want to be in an autonomous vehicle?
Only if it's
because then you could do stuff while you're travelling.
Only if it's light and airy and I can have a gin and tonic.
John, have you ever been on the underground?
Yeah, but I hate it. It's hot, it's sweaty, there's people everywhere.
Yeah, well, it'll be like that, but there'll be no people.
Smells of piss.
There'll be no people. It won't smell of piss unless you piss yourself.
I might piss myself.
Okay.
If I'm going 700 mile an hour, I might wet myself.
Johnny, think about when you're on a plane. When you're on a plane, do you feel the G-force when you're just cruising? And they do like 500 mile an hour.
No, but then I'm in a pressurised cabin and it's at 40,000 feet where the air is non-existent and everyone dies at that height.
That's irrelevant. That's down to wind resistance.
Everyone doesn't die at that height.
If you were in the air, you'd die. You wouldn't be able to breathe anything.
Would it help, Johnny, if I told you that these tubes are going to have very little air in, because the whole point is that you remove the air from the tube to reduce air resistance, and therefore you can go a lot faster.
But then how do we breathe?
See, Ben, this is why I was just trying to skirt round these.
For Christ's sake. Yeah.
What? How are you
As Kingy said earlier on, don't worry about it. It will be fine.
Just don't panic.
So does that mean we're going to have to scuba dive in cars underground?
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
It does. You need a snorkel.
Yes.
Not a snorkel, that's not scuba diving, Ben, you dweeb. We're going to have oxygen-filled cars, aren't we? But then cars need to ventilate.
Your car will be in a pod.
Running.
But it is, in a way.
No, the car isn't running. The car is stationary.
But it's moving.
On your dinner tray monorail platform.
But it's still got ventilation.
And it will be in a pod as well, because obviously the car wouldn't be able to...
It will be in a pressurised chamber. Kind of like an aeroplane, John.
This sounds like a massive waste of money. Can't we just build a nice monorail?
Look, Elon's got a lot of money. He's trying to use it to make it easier to get places quicker and for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah, but
so just let him spend his money.
Alright.
I tell you what we could spend our money on, Kingy. When Elon finally goes to Mars, we could buy Johnny a ticket.
I don't like
send
flying.
him there.
It wouldn't be flying.
It is flying.
No, it's not flying.
It is.
It's space travel. It's different.
That is flying.
It's not flying.
It is flying.
It's not flying.
It is.
It's not flying.
We'll sedate you first, Johnny. We'll pay for the extra special VIP ticket where you get
There's
sedated.
nothing on Mars. When am I going to get a gin and tonic on Mars?
I don't care.
I can't go for a
Not
walk
my problem.
on Mars.
Yeah, not my problem.
Unbelievable. Just because I'm trying to question Elon's...
No, it's because you're asking questions, but then you're not letting us give you the answers. And you're not then comprehending the answers.
But how are we going to breathe? Elon's going to kill us.
How do you breathe on an aeroplane?
Through the nose.
Exactly. So you do the same when you're underground in your car. In your pressurised pod.
Does that mean they're going to have emergency masks in the pod? That come through the roof of the car if the pressure drops?
It wouldn't come through the roof of the car.
It might punch a hole through the roof of the car. Or do we have to have pressure masks inside our cars in case the pressure drops? I don't think this has been thought through, this whole idea. I think it's a bad idea.
Many people have probably put a lot more thought into what you have in the last 5 minutes.
No, they haven't. Elon's wasting his money. Basically, Elon's that little boy who likes digging holes. He just wants to dig holes.
He's actually already dug a hole in part of the tunnel in the SpaceX car park, basically. And he's built a working lift for the cars as well. It's all functional. He's
but it's still
tweeted some pictures of them recently. It's
you
not
can
pointless.
build a lift that goes underground. You've got that in some car parks in the developed world. The problem is, when you want to go 700 miles an hour in your lift underground, where does the air come from?
No, you're not going 700 miles an hour in the lift. No, let's leave it.
Oh, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with something slightly more straightforward.
If you've got any views on Elon Musk or just John's pig-headedness, then please do tweet us.
It's not pig-headed, it's questioning how it works. It doesn't work, that's the problem.
It does work.
No, it doesn't.
It does work.
Has it been made yet?
What did Ben just say to you?
Yes, they've done some. There's some test tracks actually.
He's made a hole with a lift in it. That's a bit like building a lift in a skyscraper, but using the ground.
There was a competition recently, Johnny, where they got lots of top universities to make Hyperloop pods and test them on a bit of test track that they built. So there is footage out there.
That's just the things they've got at Heathrow.
I'm going to sit you down and make you watch all this.
I think we're wasting our time and our breath. Right then, chaps. It's time to make a return to the movie character fight World Cup thing that we started in the last episode.
You spent a lot of time thinking up the name then, didn't you, in the interim?
Yep, still working on that catchy nickname.
Gandalf.
Title. So, first up, today, we have
Gandalf.
Agent Smith from The Matrix Revolutions, when he was all-powerful and nearly kicked Neo's ass, against Gandalf from Lord of...
Oh, is Gandalf in it?
The Rings. You know Gandalf's in it.
What, in this actual episode?
Yes, Gandalf's in this episode.
In this actual fight, Johnny.
In this actual fight, Gandalf, magician extraordinaire, wizard if you will.
Magician extraordinaire. I'm not sure he'd like to be described as that.
It's all just sleight of hand, Ben.
It's like Dynamite.
Is that what it is?
Crossed with David Blaine.
It's all sleight of hand and fireworks. That's all Gandalf is. So, Gandalf the White, so that he's beefed up and ready to kick some booty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny, obviously you've got strong feelings on this.
Gandalf.
Why?
Gandalf is a cross between...
You can't repeat yourself.
A cross between God and a really powerful wizard. And what that means is all the things that God can do with his wand, Gandalf can do with his wand. And that means Gandalf can do literally anything to win. He can even go back in time. And once he punched a really big fiery demon in the face and sent it down a hole as well. And he chased after it as well to make sure it was dead. Legend.
I don't think he chased after it. The Balrog pulled him in.
Well,
and then he had no choice but to...
That's how it was depicted.
Go at it.
For those who are actually there, the accounts are different. A lot of people say he chased it down and followed it to make sure that it was, properly done in.
Just to be clear, though, at the very start of this last episode, I did say that it's just on the movie. It's not on people's interpretations of the movie.
Well,
It's just what happened. What we physically saw.
Yeah, I saw Gandalf chasing after the Balrog.
But that was Gandalf the Grey. We're talking Gandalf the White.
So, the difficulty with this one, Kicking.
Yes. Come on, Ben. Bring some logic to this.
You're going to struggle now. So, we have to be, for Agent What's-His-Face to get his strength, he needs to be in the Matrix, doesn't he? And therefore can take control of anything, or anyone.
Yep.
And therefore could take control of all the orcs and other things that might be around in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Not in the Matrix.
No, but we have to combine the worlds, don't we? But also, that means he would actually be able to take over Gandalf, wouldn't he?
Well, exactly. This is the interesting thing.
But he's not in Gandalf's world.
But he's not in Gandalf's world?
No.
No, I mean, to be fair, they're not fighting in...
Because Agent Smith has absolutely no power if he's not in a computer-simulated world.
In the Matrix.
I could be Agent Smith.
But he gets out, doesn't he?
Pour a glass of water on a computer. I win.
That's how you become Agent Smith?
No, that's how I beat Agent Smith.
Right.
But I couldn't beat Gandalf with a glass of water.
No, but this is the point. I like your point that in the Matrix is where Agent Smith has all of his power, Ben. But obviously the point of this is that it's just him at his full strength against Gandalf at his full strength. The location is both Matrixy and Middle-earthy for everyone's convenience.
So therefore he could potentially take over Gandalf and become Gandalf. Or Gandalf becomes him.
He could potentially take over Gandalf. But if Gandalf's become Gandalf the White and he's fallen through whatever it was, fire and all that malarkey, does that not mean that he'd be able to just magic himself out of Agent Smith?
He could just magic himself.
Like Neo, because obviously,
in all the ways.
Smith obviously eventually gets himself into Neo and then Neo explodes Smith because he's just too powerful for him.
Yeah, but that's all in the computer story. Gandalf actually chased after a demon.
In a fantasy story.
Johnny, have you ever actually watched The Matrix? Did you understand it?
Yeah, I've watched The Matrix a few times.
Have you watched Inception? Did you understand that?
I don't understand anything.
Have you watched Inception?
Inception's just like the world as a sandwich, as far as I understand it. It's like there's a world on some bread, and then someone folds the bread over to make a world sandwich. That's how I understand the Inception.
This is what we've got to work with, Kingy. It's hard.
Right, let's take a vote then, because this obviously isn't a unanimous decision. So,
but we know Gandalf's going to be Asian.
John, I take it you're going for Gandalf?
Gandalf.
Ben?
I'm going to Smith. You can make the deciding vote.
Oh, fuck off, Ben. Fuck off, Ben. This is a farce. He's a computer.
As the adjudicator, although I really want to disagree with John, because I think Agent Smith is a bit of a badass, part of me does kind of think that Gandalf would just
You
be...
like Gandalf's beard?
I like Gandalf's beard, yeah. I like Gandalf's beard, and I just think he'd be too powerful for Smith to just take over. I think he would explode Smith from the inside out.
He does all the magic. That's why Gandalf is so powerful. He does all of the magic.
Does that mean Gandalf is basically a computer programmer?
No, that doesn't work. Gandalf doesn't know what a computer is. He lives
No,
in
I'm
Middle-earth.
trying to say that... No, never mind. Right, moving on. We'll say that Gandalf goes through. Just
Yeah, Gandalf, get in. I knew he could win it. He's going to go all the way. I'll tell you right now. Gandalf will win this tournament.
Final matchup of the first round. Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back or Wolverine.
Wolverine's overrated. Wolverine is overrated. Darth Vader, definitely. All Darth Vader's going to do is just going to go...
I'm presuming from your sound effects that you're doing force choke.
He is, yeah. He's doing the choke.
And then Wolverine will just be like, oh no, I'm choking. Bye.
But Wolverine's made of metal, so how's he going to... It's all well and good him trying to choke him.
Yeah.
Is it just his bones that are made of metal, or is it like esophagus and everything else?
It's just his bones, but obviously he heals at a rapid rate.
Oh yeah, of course he does.
I don't really know. I think it's kind of implied the only way to kill him is to take his head off.
So I suppose that so is a lightsaber. Could it cut through? I forget what's the metal called. He's got
adamantium.
Adamantium. Yeah. Could a lightsaber cut through adamantium?
This is the question.
That's basically aluminium, isn't it? So I reckon
it's basically aluminium.
Or for our American listeners, aluminum.
I mean, Magneto couldn't stop Wolverine, and he can control metal.
Yeah, but he's just an old man, isn't he? Darth Vader is a
Darth Vader's an old man.
No, he's not.
He's an old robot man, I suppose, technically.
He's a badass walking, half robot, half human, laser wielding madman, and he's killed children, so he must be pretty hard.
I mean, that's true, but then that was before he was Darth Vader. That was just Anakin when he was
He's
going.
Probably
mental.
killed children after he was Darth.
Well, he blew up a planet, didn't he? So he must have killed a few.
He didn't blow up a planet.
Wow.
He had a hand.
That was
in it. He was an accomplice.
That was Tarkin. That was Tarkin telling him to push the button.
Wow.
Goodbye, Alderaan.
Wow. He sort of did. He helped build the Death Star.
Yeah, I mean,
piece by piece.
He's an accomplice.
Vader was there
like
on
Johnny.
his days off.
I bet Vader ketchuped a few cars
the
in his
other
time.
thing is that if Darth Vader is fighting Wolverine in space, right? All he has to do is go, Alakazam, get in space. And then...
Alakazam, get in space.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to put a visual on it because, like, obviously I can't show that I'm doing
What do you mean, Alakazam?
Well,
he's not Gandalf.
I'm trying to show the magic. Like, you know, he uses the magic to move things around. Well,
He uses the Force.
The Force.
Yeah, the magic force, yeah. He's going to use that to throw Wolverine in space and be like, bye. Or, bye.
Well...
Okay.
This is why I'm not a movie director.
Yeah, probably.
But that's how he would win, isn't it? Just like, oh, look, there's an airlock there. Bye.
I mean, the thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you as to who would win. Because I completely agree that Vader would probably win. But...
And then Gandalf would beat Vader.
But I just think that your argument is just annoying. I just think the whole lightsaber cannot cut adamantium. Who knows?
It's the Force
kind of
that's
the point of this whole discussion. But I think the Force would be what would win out. And this is why I think that Wolverine would beat Kylo Ren, but not Darth Vader. Because Vader's much more experienced with the Force. And he knows shit that Kylo Ren doesn't. And that's why Kylo Ren's a little bitch. That's why he went out in the first round. And he didn't even have to face Wolverine. But he'd have lost to Wolverine if he'd come up against him.
I'd love to see you tell that to Kylo Ren's face, King.
That's why Kylo Ren lost to the T-1000. Because he just kept cutting him. And then he just kept obviously melting and then rebuilding
that's
him.
Like he's just a big ball of like
melty.
Yeah.
Ben, any
I agree.
answer? Good. Don't get me wrong, I kind of want Wolverine to go through, but yeah, it's Vader. It's Vader.
It is obviously Vader.
Yeah.
Wolverine sucks.
I don't be like that. So there we go. 2 more classic bouts from this exciting inter-movie battle fight World Cup thing
Yep.
that we're doing.
I'm disappointed you haven't got any
Catchy new title.
no, or cars in it. I mean, Brum would have been a good candidate for this. Try and keep it on topic.
Brum was the dweeb, Ben. Basically, Ben, you look like Brum. Because you know Brum's got that sort of blank facial expression with the little lights that come on and off that look like Ben's eyes. Brum is Ben. Brem.
Brem.
Yeah.
Brembo brakes. I don't know. I mean, Brum's pretty quick, though. He's quite sprightly for a little
No,
bit.
have you seen the size of him, though? He's not...
John, you've already said that size, the Abarth, is better than the Mustang. So therefore, Brum, being smaller again, would outperform the Abarth, and therefore would outperform Darth Vader.
Yeah. He could run over Gandalf.
He could run over Gandalf.
Gandalf can't be run over.
So, there we go.
That's a
In the
fact.
next episode, we'll do the semi-finals and probably the final just to clear it all up.
Gandalf.
But your final four are Batman from The Dark Knight Rises, the T-1000 from Terminator 2, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, and Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back.
Gandalf.
Stop saying Gandalf.
It's Gandalf. It's now August. High five, everybody listening. On the 7th of August, I'm going to Silverstone, where they race cars.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. And I'm going to be driving a selection of Radicals, which are little baby racing cars for the road and track, basically. It's my first time driving a machine that relies on aerodynamics and high power, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So thank you, Radical, for inviting me along to experience your, from what I've heard, incredibly fast machines. I'm very much looking forward to it. I might get killed.
I love the positivity.
We've cancelled the Kickstarter for Johnny's driving gloves as nobody wanted to give him any money, but we are going to start a Kickstarter for Johnny's funeral fund. So if anyone wants to contribute, if we get enough and he doesn't die, we can always hire a hitman. So, it's win-win.
Yeah.
Or we could buy the driving gloves.
Or we could buy the driving gloves for him.
Can I wear them to my grave?
Yeah.
Well, no, because if you have a funeral, we don't have the money for the driving gloves. Whereas if you have the driving gloves, you're not dead.
No.
We could put the driving gloves on and just pop him in the bin.
Oh, good call.
Bin days are Thursday, so we can just drop him,
Thursdays.
just kill him on a Wednesday and he'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want his body hanging around.
Well, I do get the
Get
driving
flies
gloves, right?
and stuff.
But then we got to think about rigor mortis setting in. Like, what
We'll have to curl
area's
him up into a
position
ball
do we
before
leave
we,
him before we put him in the bin?
But can I have the driving gloves?
Anyway, Radical.
So, Radicals at Silverstone, 7th of August. I'll probably talk about that on the next episode. Well, it'll probably be time for episode 36 by then.
Yeah, when you'll also be talking about the Mountune Focus.
Yeah, because I'm going to collect that, in a few minutes, actually.
And it'll be episode 35, actually, I think, next.
Oh, will it really, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
What a nerd. Can you believe he knows what episode we're on?
I was going to say, is he sure?
Unbelievable.
I'm not even sure
He's
about
an
that.
absolute nerd.
Yeah, this is 34. Well done, Ben. Top work.
Thanks very much.
Nerd.
It is written down in front of you, Johnny, so
No, it's not.
get a grip.
So yeah, that's what's happening on the 7th of August. And yeah, Focus RS tuned by Mountune is probably, whilst you're listening to this, I'm probably driving in it. So yeah. Basically, we're at the end of the show, and now I have to record this bit to kind of wrap it all up, and I have to tell you the following information. 1, please do the subscribe and like thing on the YouTube, the iTunes, and the other thing that we're on at the moment. Ben, aren't we on some new things as well?
Yeah, but, some random podcast places.
Okay.
Wherever you got the podcast from, like us there, please.
Yeah, wherever you've got it from, please do the thing where it shows us that you actually like listening to this show, if you do like listening to this show.
Or even if you don't.
Even if,
If you
don't
don't,
actually.
tell
just
us why
do it.
you don't, and we'll...
No, don't.
you know.
No, you don't want people to tell us why they don't like it. Basically, just lie. Just say you like it. It does us a favour. It helps us stay ahead in the searchy ranky things that the whole world now runs on that I don't understand. A bit like those stupid underground tunnels that Ben thinks are going to come into play in the next 5 years that are not true. It's all going to be bloody monorails as far as I'm concerned.
Nobody mentioned anything about the next 5 years.
Well,
No. Also, do you want a little sweepstake on this, whether we're more likely to have tunnels or monorails?
No, because I'm not expensive enough to be able to do that. Anyway, thank you for listening to episode 34 and for putting up with Ben's unbelievably naff stuff that he's found from Elon Musk's butt. And until next time, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Smooth Traffic, and tweet us individually if you like, at the Johnny Edge, at Robert King ESQ and at the Face of Ben. Please tell him that he is, his bromance with Elon's got to end. And yeah, if you want to send us some money in the post, please do. Well, it's easier than starting a Kickstarter, isn't it? Just tenner in the post. It'd be alright, wouldn't it? People do it with greetings cards all the time.
Don't send money in the post.
Why?
It's just dangerous.
Cool. So that is how an intro... No, this is an outro, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is how an outro is done for a podcast. So until next time, yeah, thanks for sticking around. Vote Gandalf.